Well, my friends, welcome back to the workshop, and here it is, the completed vintage inspired short scale bass that you've all been following in this series of videos. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth about the materials, what I've used, etc., because you've seen all of that in the previous videos. But let me just give you some of my kind of impressions about various aspects of it before we get on with the demo. So you may remember one of the things that impressed me about the KEB100 bass, which I restored a while ago and of course inspired this build, was how easy it was to play, how comfortable it was to hold. And as you can see, it's all worked out really very nicely. I mean, I don't think you're stretching in this direction at all. I doubt if the reach up here is more than on a normal guitar. And also with this very deep cutaway here, you get access to all the upper frets as well. So the access to every fret on that fretboard is really quite easy, quite a comfortable reach. And of course you would have seen me put that chamfer on the edge of the body there so that it doesn't dig in. So yeah, a very comfortable guitar to hold. And the other thing I was conscious of was the overall weight of it. So it comes in at 3.1 kilograms, which is about half a kilogram, a pound or so less than, say, the average Fender Mustang bass. And I think also if I had made the body completely out of mahogany, Brazilian mahogany, which was my initial intention, it would have been a tad lighter, because this piece of Tasmanian blackwood on the front there was actually really quite heavy. But yeah, ergonomically, I think it works. So if we go back to part one of this video series, I wanted 17mm string spacing at the bridge. I wanted the strings coming through the body. And the only way to achieve that was to really put my own bridge together. I'm very pleased with the way it's come out. I mean, the bridge itself looks super clean and very kind of purposeful. All of the adjustments are perfect. You can adjust the intonation and the action, so all of that's fine. And one of the things I was acutely aware of is that on some of the commercial bridges that you see, the saddles end up really close to the hole where the string comes through the body, and that means that you have really quite a tight angle over the saddle. What I wanted, I was very conscious, what I wanted was a much more gentle angle so that there's less possibility of the windings separating as the string breaks over the saddle, and I think that that's been achieved. So yeah, very pleased indeed with the way the bridge has come out. So if you know my work, you would have seen my standard mandolins. And on the standard mandolins, what I like to do is not have any unnecessary embellishments, ornamentation, etc. And I like the mandolin just to be pure mandolin. The beauty, if you like, of the instrument is the fact that the lines are simple, the materials are well considered, and the beauty of the instrument, if you like, is in the detail of its construction rather than abalone or whatever going around the outside. And I've tried to carry over that aesthetic to this bass build, and I think really, you know, I've achieved it. Everything that you see there is really about the bass, and any ornamentation is very subtle and it's within the construction itself. Okay, I've used this chrome plate here and the tortoise shell. That's a kind of a nod to the vintage look, but yeah, I've tried to really keep it as simple as possible, but hopefully when the player picks it up, he delights in the details of the construction, I say, rather than garish ornamentation. So let me show you what I mean. So if you look around the edge, you'll see this thin green line, and that was really the only decoration that I wanted on the body itself. It just really defines that join between two different species of wood. The heel area, if I just show you the heel area, all of this has been very carefully carved and sculpted. Again, there's no real kind of fancy design about it. It's just real careful craftsmanship, and it kind of reminds me almost of a sort of a 60s wooden abstract sculpture, and I kind of like that look. And of course, running all the way along the laminated neck is also that thin green line, and you'll see that also between the head overlay and the neck itself. And really, that is the only ornamentation. It's, as I say, it's all about the form, all about the cleanness of the line of the instrument rather than anything garish. So if you remember, what I have on here, rather than a bolt-on neck, is a set neck, i.e. the neck is glued into the body and there's some kind of physical joint there. I like it for a number of reasons. One, I mean, the main reason is I think it enhances the sound of the instrument itself. But of course, what it does allow you is this lovely smooth transition between the body and the neck itself. Now, I said I think it enhances the sound. Now, there are two things about this bass. There's obviously the set neck and the strings going through the body. And I do feel, having been playing it for a few days now, that really contributes to the overall sound of it. The whole instrument is really very, very lively and sensitive to play. It may not suit everyone, but I enjoy playing it. You can play it really quite gently and get a lot out of it. And again, bizarrely, that echoes my mandolins. They're tiny little instruments. You can play them gently, but they really pack a punch. So yeah, I'm kind of really pleased that, certainly in my mind, there's this kind of link between my mandolins and this bass guitar. Two completely different instruments, aren't they? But yeah, somehow they're part of the same family, which is really nice. Okay, I can hear some of you shouting out, get on with it, Nava, let's hear what this bass sounds like. So I need to go to a different location to play the bass, because when I play it in here, the whole workshop rattles and you'll wonder what on earth is going on. Before I do that, however, when I initially set the bass up, I did have a set of round wound strings on it, and I didn't like the way it played. So I put a set of flat wound strings on it, and it really is much, much better. And I think the reason for that is that flat wound strings have more tension in them than round wound strings. So a set of flat wounds typically will have about 12-15% more tension in the overall set compared to a set of round wounds. So I think on a short scale bass, where the string length is quite short, that extra tension in the strings is welcome. It does allow you to set the bass up really quite low. And the action on this, I've got it 2mm on the first string and 2.3mm on the fourth string, and practically nothing on the first fret there. So yeah, okay, this is what it sounds like. Who doesn't like a bit of distortion, eh? Well, I hope that you've enjoyed the video and you found the demonstration useful. It gave you a good idea of what the bass sounds like and plays like. Now, when I started out on this project, it was very much about me building a bass for myself. But I really enjoyed building it, and I think the outcome is really very, very good. So what I'm going to do is, I guess, add this to the catalogue of instruments that I make. So if anyone out there is interested in having something like this, feel free to contact me. Yeah, so that's the end of this series. I hope you've enjoyed them all the way through, that you found them informative and interesting, and possibly entertaining as well. So until the next time, once again, many thanks for taking the time and all of your support. And until then, you take care of yourselves, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon. Cheers.